All right, guys, welcome back to episode 247 of the podcast. This week, I have Maarten Ectors on from Pollen. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Swash, for helping reimagining data ownership. Go check out Swash at swashapp.io. With that said, Maarten, welcome to the show. Excited to have you on today. A lot we want to talk about. How you doing, man?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. So before we jump into Pollen and start talking about what it is you guys are doing exactly in the crypto space, tell me a bit more about yourself. I'm very curious. What's your background been like? What did you do before this? Where do you live? Where are you based? Give us a little bit of detail.
Yeah, so I live close to London. I am an innovator now for almost 25 years. I worked for the Second Space Tourist in one of the most disruptive software companies here in the UK, company behind Ubuntu. I also was Chief Innovation Officer for one of the biggest asset managers here in the UK, Legal & General. And since last year, I have my own company where I help lots of different blockchain companies. I've advised to the biggest coin listings of last year for Casper Labs and Human Protocol. And specifically, I'm helping Pollen both decentralize and get commercial traction.
Nice. Did you have like a first moment in crypto or like an experience that you can recall that was like an eye-opening moment, like, oh, I got to be in this industry, like this is something I want to be around?
So in 2015, I saw this Ethereum thing in an article. I saw there was a DEFCON 1 being organized. I proposed that I could speak there about like IoT and smart contracts, how to, for instance, mine Ether on a fridge, and then if your fridge breaks down, but you're having 20 other fridges together mining, then they can buy a new one. I met a small startup at that event, took them to Mobile World Congress. They basically won the award for Best IoT Startup 4 years from now. And then my very rich boss wanted to invest in them, and they said no. And that's when we were so surprised. How come a 3-people startup without any money doesn't want an investor to invest? And this small 3-people startup, a couple of months later, gave us the answer. They launched something called the DAO, and it raised 150 million. 50 million got stolen. And with that, the whole ICO craze started. So I've seen it from very close. I understand the possibilities. I understand also the risks. And it's a really exciting space.
Yeah, I remember that point in time with the DAO, and when that got hacked and all that money was lost. Ethereum was just a baby at the time. What about that was interesting to you? Was it the fact that you could do that with blockchain? You could build a decentralized autonomous organization, or was it the smart contracts, or what part of it was most interesting to you?
So what Slockit showed back then in 2016 on Mobile World Congress is that with a smart lock on the door, you could make Airbnb irrelevant. So that's how they won the award. But at the same time, any VC could be made irrelevant, but it was all not quite ready because we saw with the hack. So it was exciting and scary at the same time, would be the good summary.
Yes, I would agree. That's a good summary. So how did that lead to you guys starting Pollen, and what's Pollen all about? What are you guys trying to accomplish?
So in traditional asset management, the biggest problem is that passive management is the key to everything. So if you look at how much money follows the big indexes in the world, that dwarfs any other investment. Now, there's nothing similar that you can one-on-one translate in crypto. And if you go to passive management, it's too costly. So we're like, could we get the best of both worlds in crypto? Because we now have a new possibility. We could get that super knowledge from active investment, get the low cost of passive investment, and can we make that investors get more for less, and as such want to come to the crypto world? That's what Pollen wants to solve.
Okay. How have you guys gone about doing that through Pollen, but getting best of both worlds from an investment perspective?
Perfect. So there's two parts to Pollen, and potentially it's easier if I show you than if I talk only about it. So I'm
Yeah,
going to
absolutely.
share my screen here. Um, so let me know as soon as you can see my screen.
There you go.
Perfect. So on one side, we look at the virtual Pollen. So if you look here, you can make a virtual portfolio, and that will tell you how much percentage like you want to own from a certain set of tokens. And it's really simple. It's just moving sliders around, because I don't think these will go up. I'm actually thinking Sushi will go up, Aave will go up, Link will go up, and sorry, Binance will go up. And by giving that signal and staking a small amount of Pollen, I'm now sort of competing against the rest of the investors out there to see if I can beat them. So it's a sort of, how would I say it, fantasy football for crypto investors. Here's my
Okay.
portfolio. Can I make it compete against everybody else's? So here you can see that I rebalanced my portfolio. And if I do a good job, and as you can see, I'm not doing that good of a job, you would see that like my profit and loss goes up, and my reputation would go up, and my position at the leaderboard would go up. Now, why is that important? Well, if I'm really one of the top pollinators, I can end up here at the top. And the reason why I want to be there is that others can then start to delegate pollen into me. So the higher you are at the top, the more likely people delegate pollen. And delegation of pollen is like copy trading. It basically means people like what you're doing. They want to give you some pollen and copy your portfolio. Now, the way it's set up is that 20% of the profit you generate for those delegators, you can keep. So if you're at the top of the leaderboard and lots of delegators are delegating pollen, you can actually earn a lot more from that than by just tripling your portfolio. So that's the reason why you want to play the game. And what we get out of it is that we know exactly how good you are as an investor, and we can then take average allocations from the top investors. Here's is an example what the current top 50 pollinators are saying you should be investing in, and you can see how this changes slightly if you look at the top 100. So we have here 5,000 something portfolio managers. We know who's the best, and we know what their average allocation is. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to use that in indexes. So you'll have different possible indexes that will take that information and go out and really invest in the asset. So where the part that I just showed was virtual and was sort of a game, this is for real. You basically can go and explore an index here and buy their index tokens, and whatever USDC or whatever you use here will then be converted in buying all the underlying assets. And when I said before, we want to like give you the best of active and passive investment management, what happens here is these indexes will be automatically driven by what the best investors think should be invested in. Now, what we found out is it's really exciting if you are on the leaderboard and you are number 9 to then go to number 1, because the difference might be a lot in delegators. But what if you're in position 703? Then it might be less exciting. So what we're soon going to introduce is leaks. And leaks will allow you to show you how good you are in a specific subset of crypto investment. So you will be able to have like DeFi leaks or GameFi leaks or NFT or metaverse, and all of a sudden you can become the best in a specific league. So you could also invite your friends and family and colleagues to a league. And then the other part, which is interesting, is the top 10 portfolio managers of a league will determine how good the league is. So you can also compete with other leagues that are, for instance, taking other strategies. So that's what Pollen is about. We basically make it fun. You can learn, and then if you want to invest, you just buy the index tokens of those indexes that you want to be following.
That's really interesting. I really like this idea. So you guys really are kind of like building almost indexes out for different niches in the crypto industry based on how people would invest. Does it have to be based on actual performance, like in what an investor's actually investing in, or is it just um, almost like a mock investment, like saying that they would buy these things, and depending on how they perform, that kind of gives them a score or a ranking. Is that kind of how it works?
So the virtual portfolios where you play the game against the others is all virtual. You don't
Hmm.
actually buy the tokens, and this is also the fun part. You with like a handful of pollen, even with one pollen, could be competing against others. And it's not about how much pollen you have; it's about how good you invest what you have. So if you only have one and somebody else has a million, but you turn one into four and they turn a million into 750,000, you are going to get potentially like a million people that want to now delegate their pollen to you.
Hmm.
And that's also one of the bigger visions. We want to see if we would allow anybody in the world to be a portfolio manager. Are there stars out there that nobody discovered? Because most asset managers at the moment go like, okay, have you like studied in Harvard or in Oxford or in Cambridge or whatever? We think that the best crypto investors didn't study in any of those and might actually have never studied in any university. And hence, we want to prove that by ranking everybody and seeing who is really the best. We also want to call out those that on Twitter say they're the best investors,
Hmm.
because you can actually see how good somebody is. And you can see if you're actually following somebody that is good at investing or they're not.
Yeah, this is a great way to prove someone's mettle. That makes a lot of claims and makes a lot of investment calls, especially on social media. Have you guys had any influencers come over to Pollen to participate in this as well, to kind of put their money where their mouth is when they're making these calls?
So if you look again at Pollen, let me share it again.
Sure.
So you can see, because you can associate your Twitter handle with your wallet. So you can either stay anonymous as here, or you can associate. And once you create your portfolio, you can also share where you are. So I wouldn't go and brag about 2,665 here,
Hmm.
but like others will be able to see it. So this is how it will become very, very easy to actually brag about it and others to follow. So we think there will be a new type of crypto influencers, the ones that prove, not necessarily talk. So that's what this system allows you to do. And um, some of the heavy talkers we invited, and not all of them have said like, yes, we want to see how we actually do. So that should tell you a lot as well.
It does. There's a lot of people out there that do it just because it's clickbait, and then there's other people that do it because they're very good at trading. I think this is a really cool tool to use. Is there a way to link it to social media or to just share it? Like if you're doing well on Pollen, to share with people on Twitter and say, "Hey, I made these calls. This is how everyone else made these calls weeks ago. This is how I performed against them. Here's like my track record."
Yep. So,
Um,
so as you can see, you can connect your account to Twitter,
okay.
and then afterwards you can tweet about it. So it's that simple.
I like it. That's fantastic. Have you guys thought about putting together like an overall index for different niches within the crypto industry, like an overall index for DeFi, for example, to get an idea of how DeFi is performing, like overall, maybe on the year or quarterly, um, maybe by taking and aggregating some of what these investors are doing and what they think in their picks to kind of, I don't know. There's a lot of data here. There's a lot
Yeah.
of information flowing. I bet you could put something together that's really, really useful.
So at the moment, we're inviting different crypto communities to start their own league, so they can rank themselves. And certain groups that we are working with already are specialized. So you have some that look at GameFi, others that look at derivatives, eco tokens, and so on. So once those leagues come on board, and they can like basically say, these are the best DeFi investors, and this is what the top 50 DeFi investors are investing in, then it would be very easy for us to also have that league of DeFi investors being linked to an index. So if you wanted to then be exposed to what's best in DeFi, you would just buy the index token of the DeFi league, and as such be immediately exposed to what the top DeFi portfolio managers think will do well in DeFi.
Nice. Wouldn't it be cool to get someone like Michael Saylor to use Pollen to like get an idea and gauge how well he's measuring markets? He's a very smart guy. Like there's a lot of people like that, but just because of what they're saying, the markets don't always follow. It'd be kind of interesting to see how the stats back that up.
Yes, Michael would be really interesting. Elon Musk would be interesting.
Oh
Anybody
yeah.
that you can like think about that talks about crypto. How good are you? What's your ranking? That's exactly the type of thing that we want, and where we're also thinking in the future to prove that to others with an NFT. Hey, I have been the top DeFi virtual portfolio manager for 3 months. And with an NFT, you could now prove that, which all of a sudden would probably improve a lot your career opportunities and other things. So that's exactly where we're thinking. Like the real good ones should be able to brag about it, and the other ones should potentially brag a little bit less.
I love it. I love it. If you want to get involved in, like, let's say I want to do it and I want to prove my street cred, how easy is it to get started and to get set up? What do you need to do?
It's incredibly easy. So basically, the thing to do now, the call to action would be go to Pollen.id, and at the moment you can try the beta here with one click. Soon we're going to mainnet, and basically you'll go then to mainnet, you'll get a little bit of Pollen, and you'll be able to create your virtual portfolio and see how good you are versus everybody else.
Perfect. Perfect. Where can people find, do you guys have a community like a Discord or Telegram, or where people go to kind of like chat and share more information about this?
Again, go to pollen.id and you find our Twitter or Discord or Telegram one link away.
Perfect. What about you? Are you on social media?
I am. The place where I have most followers is LinkedIn, where I have 25,000 followers.
Gotcha. I think I had one more question. Oh yeah, delegators. I know that's a part of your ecosystem, right? Tell me a bit more about delegators, and if someone wanted to be a delegator, how they could be involved from that aspect as well, or is it similar?
Yes. So basically, let's imagine I did this and I see like 2,665 isn't really to tweet about. So I'm going to use my Pollen to delegate. You simply go to delegate, and then you add your delegations, and you look who you want to delegate to. And then it's as simple as going here and saying, hey, let's put 5 here. We don't have that much Pollen at the moment. And I can now accept that transaction. Will come up in a second. And this is how easy it is to delegate.
Okay. Yeah, that looks super simple. You just integrate with MetaMask, right?
Yeah. And the idea of delegation is to take it towards becoming a better investor. Where, like, if you just want to be exposed to like the best in DeFi, you'd buy the index token for the DeFi index. Whereas delegation, our future positioning is more like, look, you might not be the best DeFi portfolio manager, but what if you started to delegate into the top three and you would learn from them? Because the idea is that when they rebalance, they'll tell you why. And as such, delegation will go towards this. You are the top in this league, but you're also sort of the teacher for everybody else. You
Okay.
want to have everybody to become a better investor, not just bragging about how good you are.
Got it. Let me ask you a fun question before we start wrapping it up. Since you kind of have your thumb on the pulse of the markets right now, doing all this stuff with Pollen, you probably have your own opinion on what's, going on with the markets. It's very concerning globally what's happening. A lot of potential inflation and recession fears. Kind of curious, maybe what are your thoughts on what's happening in crypto and how it's kind of reacting to the global state of things? If you have an opinion, I'm sure you do.
Well, it's one of the hardest possible moments we have and are still struggling a little with COVID, as you said, like inflation because of logistical problems globally, because of wars and so on. So it's economically a hard time. So what does that mean? Well, probably we will not see situations as happened last year where like some crypto companies were basically raising tens of millions on a slide deck. What we will see is that those projects that really are disruptive, that really get utility, their tokens are likely going to keep going up. So it will be this year and especially next year more about like, are you really having an impact? And less about how good is your marketing department. So it will be interesting because I think these will be the years that the next Web3, Google, Facebook, or Tesla is going to really start showing up. So yeah, looking at like where the market is going is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I think overall where the market's going is going to be incredibly exciting. I think things have been really oversold for a while. When you look at the technicals and you look at a lot of the studies, I think people have been panicking. The fear to greed index is about as low as it can go for fear. And I don't, there's so many good things happening too. It's like every day someone else is accepting Bitcoin, another country is making it legal tender. There's another amazing use case being developed in some niche in crypto. And I don't know. With all the markets kind of dipping like this and the prices of crypto going down, it's still kind of mind boggling that it hasn't actually gone up. So I think there's a bottom coming up really soon at some point. It's just my guess. You can only sell off so much before, things start reversing. I really think all the charts are just kind of upside down right now. That's my thesis. Everyone's just looking at it upside down. Like, guys, flip it over. We're fine. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it too. Anyways, great episode. A lot of information. Learned a lot about Pollen. I think what you guys are doing is fantastic. So Maarten, thank you for taking the time to really elaborate on that. I think I might use it myself. It sounds really, really cool. So let's stay in touch and let's chat more.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.